Pay attention to Denise Middleton, 26 years old, 8.5 months pregnant, stepping into an elevator in White Oak, Maryland on the evening of October 9th, 2022. She has minutes left to live. Because the man standing beside her, Tory Damian Moore, 34 years old, the father of her unborn child, is not the protector he claimed to be. He positions himself near the elevator doors, blocks a neighbor from stepping inside, waits for the doors to close. Denise moves to the far corner of the elevator car. She does not look at him. She stares straight ahead. Her body is still. Her face is empty. She already knows something is wrong. On this day, Denise wants nothing more than to get through another night. On this day, Tory Moore has one intention and the gun to carry it out. What happens behind the door of that apartment will not be discovered for nearly 2 months. And when it finally is, it will only be because Tory Moore walked into a convenience store looking for an iced tea. 3 lives, 1 cold apartment, and a case that only cracked open by accident. This is the story of Denise Middleton. But to understand how Denise ended up in that elevator silent, withdrawn, 8.5 months pregnant, and clearly afraid, you have to understand the relationship that put her there. Tory Moore and Denise Middleton had the kind of relationship that looks like love from certain angles and looks like something else entirely from others. They argued constantly. They separated and reconnected in cycles that wore both of them down. He described her during interrogation with a particular tenderness of someone who had convinced himself he was the only person keeping her afloat. She had been staying in a women's transitional housing program in Virginia, a shelter where residents shared rooms, followed rules, and received medication management. Tory had visited her there, been snuck inside more than once. He knew the layout, he knew the staff, and he had strong opinions about the program itself. In his mind, they were taking her money, keeping her dependent. He told detectives with genuine outrage in his voice, "They're taking all your money. You can have your own place, be rent-free, still get your money, but instead these people are taking your money for a room and giving you medicine you probably don't need." So he offered her an alternative. Come stay with him. She did. And for a while, things settled just enough to feel like progress. He took her to New York in October to visit her mother in Brooklyn. They stayed at a hotel in Queens. But even on that trip, the arguments didn't stop. She walked away from him outside a 7-Eleven. When he came out, she was standing there with another man. He clocked it, filed it away, said nothing in the moment. They returned to Maryland on October 8th. That trip meant to be something good became the last chapter. Denise was 8.5 months pregnant. She was weeks away from becoming a mother. She had nowhere else to go. And the man she came home with was already coming apart. October 8th, 2022. Sometime after dark, they're coming back from somewhere. The exact location isn't on record, and Denise says she needs to use the bathroom. They're close to the apartment. Tory doesn't stop. She asks again. An argument starts over something that small. He eventually stops. She doesn't go. And by the time they're back in motion, the tension has curdled into something uglier. He pushed her. He admitted this himself during interrogation casually, almost defensively. I pushed her and stuff like that. I'm not boxing her. I pushed her just to push that, right? And she fell over to the ground. She was 8.5 months pregnant when she hit the ground. He told detectives she was sizing it up, performing the fall, making him look bad. He tried to help her up. She wouldn't take his hand. What happened next in the hours that followed inside that apartment, he never fully described. He deflected, he implied, he circled the truth without landing on it. But the autopsy later placed Denise's time of death, October 8th or 9th, the same window, almost to the hour as that argument. And then comes October 9th, 7 p.m., the elevator. This is the last confirmed moment. Denise Middleton is seen alive, captured on surveillance camera inside her own building, pressing herself into the corner of an elevator, staring straight ahead, not looking at the man beside her. When the doors open on their floor, she follows him out. Slowly, like someone moving through water. She was shot 7 times. At least 4 bullets entered her back. She never made it out of that apartment, 4 floors up. That is all. Approximately 1 hour after entering the building, at around 8 p.m., surveillance cameras inside the complex captured Tory Moore alone in the elevator, going down, leaving. His posture is calm. His pace is normal. He walks out into the October night like a man who has somewhere else to be. Here's where this case becomes something that investigators, people who work homicides for a living, had trouble processing. He doesn't call 911. He doesn't go to a neighbor. He doesn't reach out to Denise's family, to the shelter staff, to anyone who knew her. He doesn't report anything. He leaves. For nearly 26 days, Tory Moore travels. Phone data traces his movements across the country, away from Maryland, away from White Oak, away from that building. During those weeks, Denise Middleton's absence doesn't trigger an immediate, focused search. She'd been living on the margins, transitional housing, unstable support systems, no fixed network of people checking on her daily. The kind of person whose disappearance can go unnoticed for a while, the kind of person who, without someone sounding an alarm loudly and persistently, simply slips through the cracks. Meanwhile, back in an apartment unit with no heat running and December approaching, her body remains exactly where she fell. Then Tory Moore comes back. This is the part that stops people cold. He didn't just flee.